Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Ramblin' About Wrestling podcast. I'm your host, Nick Pearl, and I just have to say, thank you guys so much for blowing up that reaction video of Roman Reigns returning at SummerSlam. If you didn't see it, go and check it out. We're at 60,000 views and counting right now on the YouTube channel, which is crazy. We have over doubled my subscribers, so we're moving up in the world. From meeting Prince Nana, having a great weekend at live wrestling, to blowing up and gaining tons of subscribers. If you're all new here, welcome to the Rambling About Wrestling podcast, and we're only just getting started. So, this is a little bit of a bonus episode. We're in between seasons right now. You know, you had season 2 themed around Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt. Coming into season 3, where it will be themed around the most over superstar in all of wrestling, the one that we all know and love, as long as we believe. Not going to say his name just yet, but it's going to happen. And let's just say I may or may not be meeting him come Sunday. We just had a very, very fun SummerSlam, a very, very fun Monday Night Raw, and there are just some things that I need to get off my chest and ramble on about. Firstly, Damian Priest. One hell of a run with that World Heavyweight Championship. He went from a guy that people couldn't see him as world champion to having the belt, putting on banger after banger after banger, much like Sheamus. And he really got himself over. The reactions he started getting from the crowd for the last few weeks before he dropped that belt to Gunther, the reactions that I never would have thought he would have gotten. Yeah, he's talented, but he wasn't connecting with the crowd. Thanks to the Judgment Day shenanigans, thanks to Damian Priest and Finn Balor having this beef now, Priest came out tonight on Raw, and is it even the same person? I've never heard him get this loud of a pop before. Even at SummerSlam, the crowd was hot for him. They want to see Priest. So now you have Damian Priest as the lone wolf, kind of like what Baron Corbin was. But you got Priest and you got Mommy, you got Rhea Ripley, the two outsiders, the two big guns in the Judgment Day, no longer in the Judgment Day. So where they go from here, it's crazy. They have so many options. But I'll tell you one thing, and one thing is for certain. Damian Priest is going to get another run with a world championship. Mark my words. He is one of the best parts on Monday Night Raw, and this new arc in his character is going to push him to the moon. And people are going to want him to win the Royal Rumble. People are going to want him to get another championship as soon as possible. So look forward to that happening soon. Damian Priest, excellent job. Gunther, you are going to be an incredible world champion. You are probably going to drop it to John Cena. Let's be real. And that match is going to be Cena's real last classic that he's going to have. I'm assuming that would be the WrestleMania match. Could be wrong. But Gunther is world champ. First of all, defending in his first defense against Randy Orton. You start with Orton, you end with Cena. You can't book that any better. But Gunther's going to have one hell of a reign. Damian Priest, Seth Rollins, Gunther, these world champions, Drew McIntyre, even though it was for a few minutes. This new world championship has a great lineage of champions already, and it's only going to get better. And just wait. Maybe Gunther doesn't drop it to Cena. Maybe he dropped it to Gable, and Gable finally gets that win back. I don't know. But right now, Gable is dealing with the Wyatt Six, and they also looked phenomenal in their in-ring return. The in-ring debut, in-ring return for Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis. So great. The visuals, them walking out to Shatter, Bray Wyatt's old theme song, with the rocking chair, with the lantern. If it wasn't obvious before, Bray Wyatt is the sixth man in the Wyatt Six. You got Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy doing the Uranagi that Wyatt used to do. You got Eric Rowan doing Brody Lee's yeah. I knew it was coming. And I gotta tell you, Eric Rowan, he looked good. He upped his game. He really did. But just Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, sitting in the rocking chair with the Bray glove on the side, and Nikki Cross sitting crisscross underneath him. And I still want to see the Uncle Howdy versus Chad Gable match. It's coming. Gable's not going to be happy that he dropped this with his new American-made team. Very successful Wyatt Six debut tonight. Very successful beginning of the official face run of Damian Priest on Monday Night Raw. One other face that I want to talk about before we get done with this. You have someone who WWE brought back, never had a real plan for him. They never did. He had a bit of a run in NXT, won the North American Championship in a great match with Johnny Gargano. That's all he does. All he does in NXT. Doesn't really do too much. He's always just a guy that's in the wrong place at the wrong time. They don't have a spot for him in stories. To my surprise, I didn't think he would go back to WWE. I really didn't. Obviously, it's where he wants to be, but he was having an incredible run in TNA as Jonah. He, in New Japan, actually beat Okada. Then he gets brought back to WWE, and he's in a feud with The Miz. He's The Miz's big guy. All this time, the last few months, they heat him up, he's off TV. They heat him up, he drops a match. You want to have a fresh set of challengers for Gunther. You want to have a fresh face for the main event. You have three of the biggest stars on your show in Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. Out comes Bronson Reed. It didn't make any sense, but then the more the segment played out, I don't think they've ever heated somebody up so fast and so well. I did not care that Bronson Reed was attacking Seth Rollins at the beginning of this. Then he hits a tsunami. Crowd goes nuts. Hits a second tsunami. Hits a third tsunami. Ends up hitting 6 tsunamis onto Seth Rollins, who has internal bleeding, by the way. Automatically making Bronson Reed one of the biggest heels on your show. If you wanted him thrusted into the main event, that's exactly how you do it. They've been building up that he's been frustrated, not getting time to show off his abilities in the ring. After tonight, the crowd wants to see him. He beat the hell out of Seth Rollins. That's going to be an incredible singles match they're going to be having down the line. Rollins going to do the best that he can to make Bronson look like a beast. Does Bronson win the match? He should. But if you have Seth going with Drew and Punk, I don't know. It could be a lose-lose situation too. But right now, Bronson Reed has all the momentum in the world. Let's keep it going, please. And if you're not going to do anything with him, just tell him now. Tell us now. We don't need to care about Bronson Reed. Let him go back to TNA where he can be a world champion. And show up in NXT. NXT TNA, baby. After SummerSlam was more a show of spots than wrestling, other than Priest versus Gunther, which was phenomenal. It was just a show of spots. You have an excellent episode of Raw, building on the biggest storylines that you got, starting some new ones. Odyssey Jones finally showed up. Took him longer than Veer. I still can't believe he's here. He looked great too. You got 2 big meaty guys coming on your Raw. That sounds terrible. With the way things are going, with all these new storylines, things are just getting started. Again, if you're new here, thank you all for popping on and listening to me ramble on. So I'll catch you all in season 3. Let's keep rambling.